Stand for pledge allegiance. Ask the council to introduce himself, please. Stand by far right.
Calvin Brown, District 1.
Anthony D'Amato, District 1.
Joe Zilsgagny, District 2.
David Mills, District 3.
Dave Perleski, District 2.
Mary Fortier, District 3. Town Clerk Teresa Pack.
Assistant John Lavella.
And Mayor Ken Kuiper. We'll have a moment of troops in active duty. Thank you. Item number 2.
Approval of minutes of the regular city council meeting on November 10th, 2015, and the special city council meeting on November 24th, 2015.
Move to approve.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. Before we go on, I'd like to ask Mr. Wininger, who's the principal of Central High School, to come up, and he's going to tell a little bit about the grant that Central High School just won. I think everyone's about.
Sure. Should I say it? All right. Thank you, Mayor. Hi, everybody. How are you doing? So, if you lived in a cave the last few weeks, you probably didn't hear about our efforts to win this $100,000 grant from State Farm. But since our Novell email account reaches all of you, we were able to contact each and every one of you and everybody in the city of Bristol to help us secure enough votes to win this grant. A few years ago, one of our teachers, Gina Gallo, who works very hard to secure grants for our students, came across this State Farm grant, and it was an opportunity for us to, again, win $100,000, and we were unfortunately unsuccessful in that attempt. This past year, the State Farm grant came around again, and it had a little bit of a different theme to it. They were promoting safe driving for teenagers, and it was called 2 and 2, 2 hands on the wheel and 2 eyes on the road. And with Gina's efforts to get the ball rolling, and John Horn, our technology teacher's efforts to create this video, we were able to actually get into the contest. The prerequisite was to submit a video, 30-second PSA, using your students and your technology to create something that would really be striking and cause people to think twice about texting and driving, answering their phone and driving, et cetera, et cetera. So we sat down with some kids, we thought about a plan for 2 eyes and 2 hands, and we came up with this great idea for the video. We were one of 100 schools chosen nationwide of 3,500 that submitted videos, and once the video was selected, we were allowed to get into the voting portion of the contest, and that portion involved 22 grants of $100,000, 11 went to large schools, over 750 students, and 11 went to schools under 750 students, so that would provide some equal competition. Luckily enough, with all the city's help, and as far as I've heard, Burlington, Vermont, John Smith told me he had people in Burlington, Vermont voting, so we're certainly appreciative of that. We were able to win the grant. We were contacted the Friday before Thanksgiving, to let us know that we won and what the procedure would be. We decided to keep it secret, the 3 of us, John, Gina, and I. We were really biting our tongues, and we wanted to make the announcement during the pep rally when we had all the kids in one place, and that way it would be a little bit more exciting. The State Farm people were terrific. Our local agent, Matt Bubb, who has an office on Farmington Avenue, came with a few other representatives to the pep rally, and they couldn't believe the community effort and the feel in the gym that day. It was a tremendous undertaking. Again, we personally want to thank everyone in the community and in the city and beyond the city limits, obviously, who voted for us. It was a terrific win for us, and it certainly helps us provide some things for our kids that we haven't been able to provide with them recently. So this $100,000 is going to go a long way. $22,000 of it needs to be used according to the grant statement for future safe driving and good behavior type efforts for our students. So we already have the wheels turning on that. We already have some ideas for some planning in the future. So we're just looking forward to actually getting the real check. We've surveyed our staff and surveyed our students about what they think is important and things that they'd like to see happen in the school. So we're starting to pare those down and starting to identify things that can make a difference for our kids. So very excited about that.
I'll tell you, I was in gym that day, and it was pretty electric. It was incredible.
Yeah, it was good.
Let's watch the video.
Steve?
The road, why do I keep two eyes on the road? Why do I keep two eyes on the road? Because I want to have a future for my sister. But I need something again.
For my cousin who died in an accident. Something sirens are for me. I keep two hands on the wheel. For the rims.
For the rims.
For my team. For my freedom.
I keep two eyes on the road and two hands on the wheel.
So with all the work that the school did, and we had some, we want to recognize a few people. Every certificate says the same thing, so I'm just going to read one of them. Certificate of recognition. This certificate awarded to Gina Gallo Renard, John Horn, and Pete Winiger, spreading the message of two in two. Two hands on the wheel and two hands on the road for State Farm's Celebrate My Drive grant program. City of Bristol, Mayor Ken Kaki. Congratulations.
Thanks, Ken. Congratulations. Thank you very much. Thanks for your support.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Carry it over to the next day. By 8 points.
By the way, we expect that next year too. All right. Now we'll go on to public participation. CM Eckles?
Sam Elkins, 398 Riverside Avenue. I only have a couple of questions. Do we still enforce the ordinance on the boulevard? Because I've seen a lot of commercial vehicles going up and down it during the day and at night. And it's not just small pickup trucks, it's box trucks, 18-wheelers, and flatbeds. The other thing is, if there is any way to contact Connecticut Department of Transportation, I hate to say it, but in front of our city hall out here where the two bus stops are starting to look like Bank Street in New Britain. And it's not nice. It looks terrible.
We are currently working with the Connecticut Transit to relocate the bus stop in front of City Hall. And as far as the MB Boulevard, police chief is here, so I'm sure he'll work on that.
Thank you.
Ron Ross?
Good evening, Sean Rist, 53 Lancaster Road. I'll vouch for that. The mayor is actually working on that. And I'm here tonight to do something a little different. I want to pay a compliment to Councilor Brown and everyone who endorsed what he said at last council meeting. I thought that showed leadership. Councilor Brown stated that we should expect, welcome, and encourage dissenting opinion, and that it's okay to have a different view. He also described disagreement, sorting out those differences as a healthy thing, and that's what working together is all about. Mayor Cockayne and Councilors D'Amato and Cagney agreed. They should be commended for that. I also like to say that although it's all right to publicly disagree, it's not just for elected officials, it's for members of the public too. It's a constitutionally protected right. Every citizen, according to Section 4 of the state constitution, may speak freely, publish, and write his sentiments on subjects being responsible for abuse of that liberty. The state constitution also enumerates for libel and for slander. And basically, the way that the Connecticut law identifies defamation is the act of publicly making or distributing a false statement of fact about another person or business. These Connecticut laws are designed to prevent injury to another person or company's reputation, esteem, respect, or goodwill. And it's the intentions of the law that are the heart of the matter that I'm speaking to you about, because regardless of the courts and the Constitution, that we also have a court of public opinion. And in the court of public opinion, no man can become the leader of Bristol's all-heart parade while disrespecting members of the public for their comments at public meetings. No commissioner can inform the public by calling a citizen who's continually seeking public information uninformed. No task force member can promote apartments downtown by threatening to pull someone's skeletons out of their closet or being a thorn in their side. No counselor can campaign on open government while advocating to hide public information and succeed. Nor can any economic planner force his development strategy on a free society by offending everyone who does not enforce his agenda. The key to social and cultural renaissance in Bristol is the encouragement of public discourse. Those who choose to publish with glaring omissions, fabrications, misplaced associations, and derogatory labels should not be surprised when the people they are supposed to be working in the service of speak more loudly, clearly, and directly of their disgust. Nor should they be shocked when people question their ethics or call for their removal. When elected or appointed officials break these barriers of respect, esteem, reputation, and goodwill, do not ask why the public confidence has dissipated. When this occurs, do not look to the critics of policies, but instead the adversaries of an open and free society. I have a question for you. If the key to preservation of liberty is the criticism of government, what is the criticism of the citizenry the key to? Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. Catherine Telfer?
Catherine Telfer, 76 Chestnut Street. Again, I'm here on the opposition to the crumb rubber infill fields. It's going to be implemented at the high schools. 2 months ago, when I first came here to speak about the crumb rubber infill fields, that's a mouthful, figuratively and literally, it seemed to me that there was an organization committee formed without question, and that committee is still moving forward with blinders on. I'm here today to ask some questions which are intended to not be rhetorical, but questions that should have answers. Different opinions, options to the $2.5 million crumb rubber infill fields were brushed off to another committee, and I, for one, would like to know the progress on those options. Haven't heard anything about that. And how many of you, if any, have done your homework and actually, done research on the crumb rubber options? For example, checked articles and testing not put forth by the industry themselves, but by credible resources such as Yale. I would have a question on the outcome of the testing that was supposed to be done, but I'm pretty sure since it wasn't by an outside, unbiased testing facility, that there would be nothing new on that front. Let me ask anyway. I'd like to know what that outcome is also. I don't believe there's been enough publicity on this matter, therefore the general public has not been educated on the injury rates and health hazards. Lastly, the professional football team of the Baltimore Ravens are saying that they have an alarming rate in injuries to their players, and they're putting back the natural grass fields. Now, they won't say it's because of the turf, but I'm pretty sure they wouldn't even have mentioned it if it wasn't. And I believe others will end up following suit, and where does that leave Bristol's high schools? That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 5, announcements, starting by far left.
Again, I'm not used to being the first one, but I do want to wish everyone holiday greetings, best wishes for Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Believe it or not, we won't be back here again till after the new year. I am a Christmas person, but I'm not going to list everything that's going on in Bristol relating to Christmas. I just hope people get an opportunity to get out and do something with their family. It's lots of the organizations that have organized fun events. I'm going to mention one. This Sunday, the Bristol Choral Society and the Braston Wind Ensemble is doing their annual concert at St. Paul, traditionally sold out. I did get tickets online, I think, on Monday, so I'm not promising it's not sold out, but that's at 4 o'clock Sunday afternoon at St. Paul High School. The Historical Society is showing another historic movie this weekend. They've chosen Gone with the Wind, which again is not necessarily a holiday thing, but certainly a classic movie, Friday and Saturday evenings at 7 o'clock. And I was thinking about this, people that are my age in the room certainly remember when, and you know what, I just said Gone with the Wind, and I'm totally wrong. That's the movie they did last time. It's The Wizard of Oz, so I apologize. I wrote that wrong. It's been a long week already, and it's only Tuesday. But The Wizard of Oz, if you're my age, you remember when The Wizard of Oz was on every year. It was on television, again, back when there were only 3 TV stations. I know there's young people in the room that don't believe that was true, but it was. But it would be on one of the networks once a year, and it was sort of a thing. You had to sit and watch it and be scared of the monkeys and all that. But there probably are young people that have never actually watched the movie. And while it's a great movie, number one, it's also, there were a lot of firsts in this movie. Believe it or not, color wasn't in movies until the 1930s. And so it's a true classic that if people are interested in, it is going to be shown at the Historical Society. And they do a great intro there of telling you some of the interesting things historically about the movie and the first in it. 2 quick general things. Buy local this holiday season if by chance you can. There's lots of things that you can purchase not online. A flower arrangement, a gift card at a spa. There are things that you can get in Bristol that will benefit our local merchants, and if you stop and think, that would be really appreciated. And also, giving blood, again, I speak about that a lot, but again, this is a season where that's more crucial and sometimes forgotten about with all the hubbub. So again, have a great holiday season. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. 2, please. One is the West End Association is a group of West End business people and residents who are trying to promote activity in the West End. Well, they're starting their 2nd annual Taste of Bristol fundraiser. For $5, you can buy tickets, which are now available at the Southside Meat Market in Hamlin & Sons. For $5, you can go and enjoy local restaurants. They have 37 restaurants this year and other vendors as well. It'll be 2 months long. Last year was only 1 month long. And if you go, they have like a 20% discount. So for $5, you can go to one of the local restaurants and get a 20% discount from your tab. Fabulous. Great thing. Promotes local businesses and it helps the West End Association. The second thing there is December historically is a big month for charitable giving. Because of the holiday spirit, or maybe you want to beat the tax man, there's a spike in charitable giving in December. I want to urge caution to our citizens. The number of asks that you're going to get in the mail or a solicitation on phones increase, and you always read about people getting scammed and things. If you're not familiar with a charity, ask your family, ask neighbors, ask friends, ask local professionals. I'm always trying to encourage local giving in Bristol or surrounding areas. There's a lot of nice ways you can donate excess Christmas money, if that's such a term, where the United Way, the BCL Fuel Bank, local churches have drives for children who need winter coats. There's a lot of ways to look into it. So I'd urge caution as you think about your donations in December. And like Mary, hope you have a great holiday season. Thank you.
Yep, I have a few. First of all, the Police Explorers are sponsoring a Stuff the Truck toy and clothing drive on Wednesday, December 9th from 4 to 9 at Bristol Walmart. Police Explorers at the benefit of Bristol Youth Services, so give that some consideration. Secondly, if you've seen some signs around town, it's too late to wait, read 20 minutes to your child or to a child every day. They are having something in January and February, the Family Reading Adventure Program. It's for the Parent and Child Winter Family Reading Adventure Program. It's open to children 3 to 5. There are some registrations that's put on by the hospital people. And then a real exciting announcement today is that the website, the new portal, Bristol All Heart, is going live today. For those of you who would like to take the web address down, you can just go to bristolallheart.com, and it's a tremendous, it's going to be a great marketing tool for everybody. If you want to go on Facebook, just go to www.facebook.com, Bristol All Heart, and in that first hour that it went live today, there was over 340 people that are following the page. So it's going to be something that the marketing committee has been working on for a long time. It's been almost a year. Actually, it's been about 9 months that we started in doing this. It's taken about 3 months longer than you had anticipated. But the results, I think, you'll find are outstanding. What it's going to be is a central location for everyone to go to. For all events in Bristol, if you were involved in any community organization or anything's going on, it's going to be a schedule of events. It lists places to eat, places to go. It talks about neighborhoods. There's going to be a number of different things. So please go to that website, check it out when you get home. Again, it's bristolallheart.com. And it's really exciting that this is starting to happen. So that's what
Thank you.
Thank you. I wanted to let everyone know that the 75th Annual OM Show is going to be directed by Ken Ferris and Mary Lynn Gadman this year. They are holding auditions on January 3rd, that's a Sunday, from 2 to 4 for the kids and 4 to 6 for the adults. And on Monday, January 4th, from 6 to 7 for the kids and 7 to 9 for the adults. The auditions will be at the Bristol Boys and Girls Club. It is the longest running variety show of its kind in the country, and we're hoping that everyone can get out to the show, which is going to be on April 15th and 16th this year. And I'd like to say Happy Holidays, Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year to everyone out.
Just would like to say Happy Holidays. Just keep it nice and short. One of the things that myself as well as my family we do each year is instead of donating to a specific charity, we try to find people that we know that are in need or people that we see are in need, whether it's even at Dunkin' Donuts buying someone a coffee that, they're fishing for change and they're short a couple cents, paying for, someone who has done military service, but I found someone close to my neighborhood that their kids are not going to have a really Merry Christmas because the family is they're barely making ends meet. So we're gonna get the kids a couple gifts and we're gonna pay it forward doing that. And to me, I think that's the best announcement that I can have is if someone can do that. And if we multiply that, there's going to be a lot of happy people in town. So that's all I have to say is Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and if we can do something charitable, that'd be great.
Many of you probably read in the newspaper yesterday that the mayor is anticipating inviting Bristol's state delegation to come and speak to a joint session of the City Council and the Board of Finance, potentially next month, to talk about the impending budget situation. And you probably also read that the most senior member of that delegation, the most senior legislator from Bristol, Frank Castro, was specifically disinvited to that discussion. And I mentioned to the mayor that I hoped we could extend an invitation for him to participate. But the mayor still disagreed, so I'm going to put it to the public. I ask you, is it possible to have a really meaningful conversation about the state budget or about anything if we don't invite a diverse set of opinions to the table? Is it possible to really make any progress if we only hear from people who think like we do and we publicly ridicule and exclude people that maybe voted a different way than us or think a different way than us? Is that ever going to get anything accomplished with the state budget or with any of the issues that maybe we want to talk about in the city of Bristol? My answer to that question is no. Frank Castro is somebody that's given 30 years of service to the city, to the state, and that's just the handful of elected positions that he's held. It doesn't even get into the years and years and years he's served his country as a member of the military. I think it's shockingly disrespectful to him directly to be treated this way in the public and in the Bristol press. And I think it's an insult to members of the public. I think it's an insult to Bristol citizens who are very interested in discussing these things, state budget, any one of a variety of issues, but maybe they agreed with Frank's original vote in support of the budget. Or maybe they think that there's a way that we can work with Governor Malloy moving forward. And if they read what they saw in the Bristol Press yesterday, they're going to think, oh, my input is not welcome. Last month, as Mr. Royce alluded to, I mentioned that dissenting opinions should be welcome. And those weren't empty words. That was not political posturing on my part, because let me tell you something loud and clear. In the city of Bristol, and in the state of Connecticut, and in the United States of America today, there is nothing that's driving me more and more insane about the current state of our political discourse than the amount of blatant political posturing, empty rhetoric, and lack of any type of solution. I'm not just an elected official. I am an American citizen, and it's driving me up the wall, and I'm sure many of you feel the same way. So my point is this. We all need to remember what's really important in Bristol and in this country. It's okay to have different points of view, but it's absolutely arrogant and disrespectful to think that we can just shut out people that think differently from us. We are not gonna make it. We are not gonna make it. Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah to our friends who are in the middle of the holiday, and Happy New Year.
I don't want to.
I noticed that, by the way.
Can you say that again, Dave?
So let me respond to Councilman Brown's comments. I see you didn't respond to the email that I sent to you today. So let me say publicly why I didn't invite Representative Nicastro. Representative Nicastro voted for the second largest tax increase in Connecticut history. In that vote, that he so proclaims that he brought $2 million to City of Bristol, the real number was $1.9 million that he brought to City of Bristol. And he didn't bring that number to City of Bristol. That number was put in the budget to replace the car income tax that we're losing. You just heard our comptroller get up, which says we're losing anywhere from $500,000 to $1 million. So even if we get most of it, we're still in the hole. That's number one. Number two is in that budget was a minimum of $4.5 million cut to Bristol Hospital, our second largest employer in the city of Bristol. That cut caused approximately 40 employees to lose their job. Bristol people, our neighbors, our friends, that are now on unemployment because of that budget that Representative Nicastro voted for. They're currently today, even with the adjustments to the budget, about $3 million in the hole. And Bristol Hospital is still trying to figure out how much they're in the hole because the Democratic leadership at the Capitol don't know what they're doing. Nobody knows what the real numbers are. In that cut, which yes, Mr. Nicastro, Representative Nicastro was in the military, commended for his service, was a $112,000 cut to the Honor Guard. The Honor Guard that plays for deceased military members. That alone should have been a no vote for the budget. Take away everything else. That ultimately was restored, but only after I raised the point and made a big noise. Mr. Nicastro did a lot for the city of Bristol. His legacy now is voting for the second largest increase in Connecticut history. That's why he's not invited to the meeting. Because I want people here with solutions, not people here that go with the crowd to pass the budget. Because the budget barely passed and he was one of them. That's why he's not invited. Now, I'd also too like to welcome everybody, or like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year's. It's quite a transition there for me. Go out, have fun. This is the season to remember the holidays with family. That's the best part. Because as with me, I have a 15-year-old son. The time passes very quick when they go from a youngster and all of a sudden they don't need dad or mom around anymore. So enjoy the holidays and a Happy New Year's. And number 5.
It's the consent calendar, there are 6 items. 5A is to place on file the new hire report for November 2015. 5B is to approve the tax refunds dated December 1st, 2015. 5C is the ordinance committee to introduce amendments to the Bristol Code of Ordinances, section 4-5, Rooster's penalty, to waive the reading of the amendments and schedule a public hearing for December 16th, 2015. 5D is to place on file the recommendation from the Board of Public Works regarding deferral of sidewalks at 120 Terryville Road, subject to filing the standard caveat and reserving future right of a city to order sidewalks at owner's expense. 5E is to request to defer sidewalks at 223 Broad Street, which should be referred to the Board of Education and Board of Public Works for review. And 5F is to place on file recommendation from the Planning Commission regarding the potential closure of Willis Street between South Street and Memorial Boulevard to provide parking.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes. Item number 6. Committee reports, Real Estate Committee.
Yes, Your Honor, I have a motion, a couple motions to go before the committee. First is I hereby move that the City of Bristol seek requests for proposals for the disposition of property owned by the city known as 14-16 Lincoln Place, a vacant lot, on map 23 of the Bristol Assessor's Office, and that the purchasing agent be authorized to request proposals and that he send out a press release in addition to the legal notices and update the city website. I further move that this matter be referred to the Corporation Council to prepare and/or review any necessary documents. I further move that the mayor or acting mayor be authorized to execute any necessary documents to effectuate the same.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes.
I have another motion, Your Honor. I hereby move that the City of Bristol seek requests for proposals pending an 824 review by the Planning Commission for the disposition of property owned by the city known as 312 Oakland Street on map 24 of the Bristol Assessor's Office, and that the purchasing agent be authorized to request proposals, and that he send out a press release in addition to the legal notices and update the city website. I further move that this matter be referred to the Corporation Council to prepare and/or review any necessary documents. I further move that the mayor or acting mayor be authorized to execute any necessary documents to effectuate the same.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, discussion.
My only discussion is I thought we'd already authorized this last time, but we just don't know anymore than
No.
that. Okay, so second, it's fine.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes.
That's all I have.
Committee reports, item number 4.
Yeah, excuse me, may I add one report from the case?
We're going to go right down, okay?
Just quickly from the library, in January, we'll begin Sunday hours at the Bristol Public Libraries, and that will continue through March. So if you are interested in going to the library, you'll have a little extra time on the weekend. But remember, it doesn't start until January, and it only goes through March, so get as much use in while you can. And that's it for me for committee reports.
No report at this time.
I have a few. First, from the Real Estate Committee, I just wanted to announce that we're having a special meeting on Tuesday, December 15th at 4:45 p.m. to discuss 165 Hill Street and whether it should be sold to the studio. And from the Parks Board, the American flags will be removed from the season from the Veterans Memorial Park and the Boulevard by the end of this week, and they will be put back up on the week of April 6th. And the leaf pickup operation is nearly complete. There are just a few areas left. The second Winter Youth Program registration will begin on January 11th, 2016. And the outdoor ice rink is being assembled at the Stocks Playground and will open soon as the weather allows the water to freeze. The 30th Annual Santaland will open next Thursday through Sunday, that's the 17th through the 20th, in Rockwell Park, from 6 to 7:30 on Thursday and Friday, and from noon to 4 on Saturday and Sunday. The event is open to all Bristol residents. There will be arts and crafts, horse-drawn, wagon rides, a live petting zoo, Santa Claus, and more. There is the 3rd Annual Gingerbread House Competition, which is currently open. Families are encouraged to create homemade gingerbread houses and enter them for a chance to win the prize. All submissions are due to the Parks Office by December 15th, and the houses will be displayed at Santaland. The Parks and Recs are also selling tickets to Disney on Ice, which will be on January 14th 2016 at the Excel Center. And finally, Memorial Boulevard Building Committee. We have been interviewing architects and other design firms to put together the design for the building. We are in the process of choosing what architects and/or construction manager will be involved in that process at this time. We are also in the process of choosing a board of directors for the nonprofit. The corporate documents for the nonprofit were filed with the Secretary of State, I believe it was November 17th of this year. The old committee that formerly was in charge of the building did some vetting and recommended 3 individuals to be placed on the board of directors for the nonprofit. These 3 individuals did meet with the mayor, and it is clear once they met with the mayor that they do have the best interests of the city at heart, and they have the best interests of Memorial Boulevard School at heart. There should be 9 members of the board of directors, and we need to have as many as possible going forward. Memorial Boulevard School is an icon for the city. Everyone thinks of it that way. We want the project to succeed, we want the project to move forward, and we want the project to be the best that it can be. We want the project to be a legacy for the city going forward. Therefore, we want to make sure we get it right from the beginning. And so because of that, we are asking anyone out there who would like to be on the board to please let the mayor know. We are looking for anyone really who wants to be involved in the project, but especially anyone who has experience in the arts, who has experience in project management, who has experience in building management, who has experience in fundraising or grant writing, who has experience running a business, possibly starting a business, and who has experience of being on a board of a nonprofit prior. If you have any of those experiences, all or one, please let the mayor know if you want to be involved in this project.
Considered for the board.
Considered for the board, I'm sorry. And we would like to have a special meeting to decide who's going to be on the board as soon as possible. But if we can't do it sooner than our next meeting in January, we'll be doing it then. So let the mayor know as soon as you can if you're interested, and we'll be looking at everyone who wants to be involved. Through the chair.
Let me add one more thing, that if you don't know how to get a hold of me, send it to any of the council as well, and they will forward it to myself. I think we all have Facebook pages, and then we also have our city emails that are on the city website. Councilman.
Yes, I was just looking for some clarification because I know you spoke to me about this and suggested that this special meeting would be to appoint additional members to this board. That isn't my understanding of the process that was set out by the organizational committee in the summer and the one that we approved in September. So I'm just looking for clarification. The 3 members that were vetted and chosen by the subcommittee and recommended to you, I don't understand why they can't be appointed now. And again, I'm looking for clarification on the process going forward for exactly how the other people are going to be chosen.
The way the incorporation paperwork reads is that the city is to appoint a minimum of three members. It doesn't have a maximum. After meeting with the 3 board members, the 3 members that are going to be board members, their names are moving forward. We decided as a group that we needed a larger group to start the board, to start the committee. They have a great task ahead of them, and the more starting off the group, the better, with a great diversity of people on there. And we want this to be a success. We don't want to rush this project. We don't want to rush the process. So rather than rushing it and naming some people, we had a meeting that lasted over an hour in my office, a great working meeting. We all left very excited, and we all came to the conclusion that it's better to delay a month, get more people on the board, and then let the board members go. They've already been, the 3 members that are there have already been notified of some meetings that are going on, and we've invited them to attend those meetings as public participants, as any public person can.
I have one other question. Based on my understanding and the minutes of the special meeting of Memorial Boulevard Organizing Committee in August, my understanding was that those first 3 founding directors would be the ones choosing additional directors. Is that no longer the case?
Well, it isn't. The the city had a minimum of 3. So we go by the incorporation, the paperwork that is incorporated of the 501c3, is that right? 501c3. So we go by that paperwork. That trumps any minutes that are there because that's the actual incorporation paperwork.
All right.
So we're going to now, instead of starting with 3 that we originally talked with, we're going to start with a minimum of 5. I'd like to see 7, and then that board will go forward.
Okay, so you're going to choose those 5 or 7 members, is that my understanding?
3 members have already been chosen. I've
I
already
understand.
submitted those 3 members that are going to go forward. The rest of the names, after they come through my office, we will submit names to the council to be voted on.
All right. I do want to read a paragraph from the minutes because I think that the spirit of what the committee was looking for is not necessarily being adhered to. And I'm not talking about the bylaws. I understand that the bylaws don't require those initial members to appoint the other members, but I read from the minutes of the special meeting of the Memorial Boulevard Organizing Committee, Thursday, August 20th, 2015, 7:30 a.m., first floor meeting room. The nonprofit will be independent from the city, but will have a business relationship with the city. After much discussion, agreement was reached on the appointment of 3 founding members for the board of directors to be named by the mayor and city council and included in the application for incorporation. Cheryl Tebow suggested these 3 directors form a nominating committee and charged them with choosing the remaining board members. Cheryl was concerned with only 3 members, you wouldn't have a quorum. Ed Krawicki stated that the initial committee could consist of 3 members, as you would have a quorum with 2, and they could add members as they saw fit. And I'm putting that on the record. I want people to understand that was the committee's understanding, and that was my understanding. And I would be happy to move forward with the 3 members tonight so that they would be able to actually establish this nonprofit and
Okay, so again,
move this.
not only my goal, but the council's goal should be to make this as successful as possible, as quickly as possible. And again, after meeting with these members that are going to be appointed, we were all in agreement. No one swayed that waiting a month and making this board as best as it can be is worth taking a month rather than rushing something through.
Well, I'm not sure I understand.
I can't make it any clearer.
I'll maybe try to explain my thoughts. These 3 members who were chosen by the committee apparently are very talented people, and I do not know who they are, but I do know about the process, and I know some of the qualifications that Jody listed were the qualifications that these folks, that the committee was looking for in these people. So I'm sure they're highly qualified folks. And right now, there isn't a theater to run. There's simply a nonprofit to set up. And I would think that they could at least do the initial steps that are required to form the nonprofit. And they could meet, because they'd be an actual board, they could meet and not be in violation of any FOI laws, and they could start discussing how many members they thought they needed in this first year, what kind of members they would want, what skills that might be missing between the 3 of them that they would be looking for, and that it is their job to determine what the next steps are. That's my understanding, and that's the only reason I'm raising it, and I'd be prepared to make a motion tonight to accept and approve them and have them start that process of incorporating the Memorial Boulevard Community Cultural Center, Inc.
So let me ask you, how many of the task force members have you talked to? The board members that are proposed to move through the 501c3, how many?
I haven't. I don't even know who they are.
Okay, so you're sitting here saying you don't understand. You haven't talked to any of them. You haven't read their resumes. You don't know who they are. You haven't even interviewed them, as I did. We sat in my office for well over an hour, but you're ready to move names forward. When I sat with them, and as a group, we came to the conclusion that it's better to wait a month. But yet you're gonna go beyond what those members said and say we still should move forward, when even those members agreed that we should hold off 1 month. Is that what you're saying?
No.
I disagree with you, because I met with them. I'm not going by minutes, I'm going with actual people, talking to people, facts. That's what I'm going with.
No.
So,
I
there's
don't
no
know if
motion on
anyone-
the table. Any other discussion on this? If you'd like to make a motion, you
I'm
go
going to
ahead.
make the motion for the record. I make a motion to accept and approve the 3 names that have been submitted to the mayor by the subcommittee of the Memorial Boulevard Organizing Committee as the founding directors of an independent corporation named Memorial Boulevard Community Cultural Center, Inc., and to direct that they, together with the attorneys who have been working on the incorporation, file all necessary paperwork to complete the incorporation, and that any additional board members will be added by the founding directors if and when they see fit.
We have a second.
I'll second it for the purpose of discussion.
We have a second for discussion. Let me start by saying, let me urge all council people, this is not ready to go forward. I urge you to either table this motion or vote it down. This is not ready. I have the backing of those 3 individuals to wait 1 month. I will not support this motion.
Your Honor.
Go ahead.
I was a part of that committee, and it's my understanding that we weren't going to wait a month. I thought we were going to, if we had a special meeting, that might be voted on at that special meeting. Is that
That's
correct?
absolutely correct.
That is correct. Okay. And the other thing I'd like to ask is, what is the status of the 501(c)(3)? Is that going forward?
It's already in place. It's been, what number, November 17th?
The corporate documents were filed with the Secretary of State.
Okay. Is there anything that this committee has to do, these 3 people? Is there anything that they would have to do to foster the advancement of this proposal? Shaking your head no, that means no, I assume. Okay. So
This gains us nothing.
So the advantage of having these people at this time, other than to get their names in the community and get them on board with solicitation, if they would, just going to Dave's point earlier about December being the time of giving and making tax decisions, would that be enough cause, if this meeting, this special meeting were called, to bring their names forward?
Councilman, I think to solve that problem, you already have a organization and a committee set up to do fundraising just like that. We had this very same discussion a year ago, you might recall. The additional issue that came up when we met with these folks was a realization that, in fact, only one individual who participated in the committee that you were on had anything whatsoever to do with the vetting of the initial group that was recommended. In fact, someone who was not a member of your committee did some vetting and recommendations, and there was a discussion amongst some of your other colleagues that said, gee, we would like to participate and take a look at other names. So that was the other reason for asking for a little extra time to try and build the panel a little larger. So those were the discussions.
The answer to the question, then, as far as the December time period, there would be no benefit at all to have these people in place?
I think they can accomplish the panel that's in place.
There is no panel. What panel?
We established a Memorial Boulevard fund operated over at the Main Street Foundation for purpose of fundraising at this point. That would
Who's going to
ultimately,
solicit?
that would,
Who's going to solicit?
the same
funds?
people, I suppose, have been doing it for the last year.
I thought that the committee was disbanded.
I don't think there's been anything that stops anyone from soliciting funds through the Main Street Foundation, Councilman, that would allow them to continue to fundraise.
Okay, I just wanted to make that clear.
I don't see anything that stops them from doing
Okay,
that.
is this going to be the founding people's, one of their responsibilities, I assume, is going to do that? That's the only thing, I'm just trying to establish a timeline here.
Of course, and if you take a look at the incorporation documents, among the chores they have is the chore to restore the Memorial Boulevard School. There was an awful lot of dialogue about the nonprofit folks having the time and the ability to work with the building committee on this phase 1 that we've been talking about. There was additional dialogue at the meeting concerning the fact that the building committee is now out on RFP. They're going to have all their reports back. Roger's in the audience. I think it's sometime this week, and then by the end of the year, a recommendation for an architect And then I believe they're looking into construction managers as well. The discussion centered on the fact that it would be helpful to be down parallel paths at the exact same time, instead of having one group, racing a little bit ahead. So
That's fine.
That was
The
what
only thing
the
I wanted to
discussion was.
establish, as I said, if there was an urgency to have these people in place, then a special meeting could be called to do this. That's all I'm
Right.
asking.
And there was one thought just came to me as you were speaking. In addition, the group felt I think unanimously, that it would be helpful to get some folks who have some philanthropic background involved with them. The three individuals that have been recommended are outstanding people. They have the city's best interests really at heart.
Right.
I think they were looking for a little additional horsepower.
Through the chair, Attorney Kowicki?
Yes.
Can I ask you, just as clarification for something Councilman Gagnon said, specific questions. Has the Articles of Incorporation
The Articles of
filed and
Incorporation
accepted?
have been filed and have been accepted.
Has there been an application for tax exempt status filed?
The application, it has not been filed
You
yet.
can't without.
Anyway, right.
You can't do
Right.
that. And last question, please. While I have it.
Sorry.
While I have it.
Yeah.
You said only one person vetted these three, and they three have accepted the assignment, but you lost me there.
Well, I think the original idea
Two people.
was that there were going to be a group of the original nonprofit creation committee that would solicit resumes or whatever their process was, and then the group would select folks. I believe only one of the members of that panel participated, and someone who was not a member of that panel did a lot of vetting.
Any other discussion?
I have a question. In terms of this, I guess, application for incorporation, and I'm not really familiar with that stuff in terms of what it's exactly called, but wouldn't directors have to be listed
No.
to do that?
No, just the folks who had the idea of creating the nonprofit signed the paperwork as a courtesy to all of the folks who were members of that old panel. We had them all be incorporators. They sign those documents, they file them saying that we're creating this 501c3 corporation for the following purposes, and it's enumerated. And that is the initial piece of paper that gets filed. Since this body is the authority that is initially created, this is kind of an interesting nonprofit because it's being created by the city of Bristol, and then it's ultimately leaving the control of the city of Bristol
Correct.
as soon as we make the appointment. So this is the one and only opportunity that you'll really have to have some input.
Through the chair, Attorney Kowicki, the three people, have they signed on? Have they?
Yes, they're all very willing to serve.
But there must be some reservation from them with adding on other people.
No, not at all.
I feel they were almost relieved that there wasn't just them three. No, my point is, these people, this board is critical. I mean, the folks who are going to sign up for this are going to be involved for the next many, well, let's not hope it's a lifetime, a lot of time, and they're going to dedicate a lot of their personal time to this. So there's got to be a reason why we're going to hold off. Yeah, it's got to be these folks want to get more inertia, more information before they go public. It has to be something because you're not telling something.
I think it has more to do with the ability to be real philanthropic,
Get a better team?
bigger team.
And through the chair, if I can just say, I think Councilman Perleski touched on it when he said the board is critical.
You said councilman.
I thought I said councilman, I apologize.
Nice. Starts already.
Councilman Perleski said the board is critical, and I think he really touched on what's important here. I think it is critical going forward, and again, I want to say that we want to do things right from the beginning. We want to make sure all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed, and the more hands in the pot in this situation, I think it'll be the better, especially if it's the right type of people, the people who have the experience that we're looking for, that I've already given the criteria for. And I think that'll only make the project better, and we want it to succeed, and we want to make sure that 10 years from now, we're looking back at this moment saying, I'm glad we took our time and did it right.
Through the chair. I don't think anybody disagrees with your statement at all, Jody. I mean, obviously, we all want to get it right, there's no question. We were just wondering if there was an urgency. And secondly, we were wondering if the wishes of the original committee were being followed and not circumvented. Certainly, we don't know that. We weren't privy, we weren't part of the meeting. And certainly, the reports getting back from Attorney Kowicki and the mayor were that these people were on board. It might be best to try to get more information. There is a time period, obviously, that I was concerned with and wanted to get this started now. But I would, I know there's a motion on the table, but I would suggest that we table the vote, or table the motion until we can get some more information. Possibly, can we meet with these people, or how do we know who they are? And, if we're going to vote on them, we should know something about them.
We can send, full council will send everybody the 3 resumes and their contact information.
And are we allowed to talk with them,
Sure.
interview them ourselves or whatever?
All right, I got a question here before we move on.
Voted
We
on
haven't
that.
voted. All right, but there are 3 candidates that have said that they're going to sign on, is what I mean.
And I have every intention of bringing those 3 forward, yes.
Right. And we're delaying because you want to get about 2 more, is that right?
A minimum of 2 more.
Minimum of 2 more. And who is we want to get a minimum of 2 more? Are you the one, Mayor, that's picking 2 more people? Or is
We
it
as the
you
group,
and the 3 people you've got?
We as a group that we talked, those 3 and myself and some others in the room, lawyers particularly,
Right.
talked about having the board bigger rather than smaller.
Okay, all right, I follow you up to there. But my understanding up to this point has been that you were going to start with 3, and then those 3 were going to add more members to the board of directors. So it sounds like that's what's going to happen, but the mayor's office still gets to have their hand in it? Is that what's happening?
Mayor's office is going to collect all the things, and we'll review them with those board, and then we'll run them by those potential board members, because they're not board members yet.
Okay.
Talk to them.
All right, so the only difference between moving forward with Councilman Fortier's motion tonight, or moving forward with the path that you suggest, Mayor, is Councilman Fortier's path empowers these 3 members to sign on their additional 2, or however many they want, up to 9 on the board. Or if we follow your path, they go through you to get on another several members.
Yeah, we all came into agreement that the board needed to be more diverse. We needed some philanthropic members on the board who had the ability to raise money quick. And that board currently doesn't have that makeup.
Right, and again, I follow you up to there, but why can't these 3 members do what they were gonna do and supposed to do anyway?
You're welcome to move the motion forward if that's the way you want. You're welcome to keep the motion on the table. Motion on the table. It's been seconded. Someone wants to make another motion, or no other discussion on this?
Well, I'd like to make a motion to table it until everybody knows who these people are before you vote.
We have a motion to table. Do I have a second? No second. No motion to second.
And I call call the
Okay,
motion.
so then, motion to place this board on, people on the committee rather than waiting a month. Again, I disagree with this, and I will vote no on this because I don't think the board is ready. I'll ask for my roll call, starting by Frau Ray.
Oh, sorry, gosh, that's gonna sneak up on me until like April.
Now, let me ask one question. We're putting these people forward, but no one on this council has seen the resumes.
Right, well, that's not my fault. I don't think that's the fault of
But
anybody
you're
up
going to
here.
vote for someone not seeing the resume. Are you willing to do that?
Okay, well, when did you plan on showing us the resumes?
If it was going on the agenda tonight, you would have had the resumes, but it wasn't planning on coming up. I didn't plan on a motion coming forward tonight.
Okay.
As I talked to everybody in the council earlier, yesterday and today.
Right. Okay, well, I'm more concerned with the ability to move this forward in a timely fashion, number 1. And number 2, nobody's told me that my understanding is wrong, that these 3 board members, whoever they're going to be, are the ones that are supposed to be empowered to pick the rest of the board members. And I don't see a particular reason for the mayor's office to be involved anymore beyond that, because I am first and foremost concerned with this being a truly independent board. So are we at the voting, or are we still under discussion? I see Attorney Krawicki up
I
there.
mean, maybe I can help the councilman understand
That would be wonderful.
makeups of boards and commissions.
Sure.
As unfamiliar as you might be with that process, only because this is very different than what we normally do in the city. And normally, every appointment would always come back here, whether it's an appointment to the planning commission, the zoning commission, any of these other kinds of commissions. In this case, we're creating a completely separate corporate entity. Happens to be a nonprofit, which is irrelevant, but it's a completely separate entity. So I think somewhere in the discussion of folks, there may be a disconnect in understanding what we're talking about with people selecting future members of the board. Whenever you have a corporate board made up of individuals, now if it's a for-profit corporation, it would be the shareholders. The shareholders would elect a board of directors, and they would nominate them, and so on and so forth. In a nonprofit corporation, it is generally set up so that members of the board, the existing board, will create a nominating committee, and the nominating committee would refill. The general structure of this panel was thought to be, and they can change this at any time because they have the ability to do that once they're appointed, was to have a 9-member board. 3 of the individuals initially would be appointed for a 1-year period, 3 would be appointed for a 2-year period, and 3 would be appointed for a 3-year period. And then after the initial cycle, they could then serve another 3-year term, and so on and so forth. I forget, frankly, off the top of my head, whether there's a cap. I mean, there might be a cap of 2 terms. So when we're talking about the board filling these spots, what it was designed and what we were talking about when we were in the meetings back in the summer was that future board members will be ultimately selected by this board. If the idea was to commence with only 3, then arguably if those were the first 3 appointed, they would then have the power to simply appoint everybody. However, in addition to that, the members of that panel thought that they would all be involved in the selection process. We've had members of that panel come forward and say, hey, I don't know who these people are, where they came from, we didn't have anything to do with it. So I think there might have been a little disconnect amongst that old membership on how they were going to do this. For that reason, everybody said, look, let's just take a moment, take a breath. These are 3 really good people. You know, if there's some others that want to have their names put forth, let's do it. So that's all that was going on. There's no other agenda.
Attorney Krawicki, you're telling me that the mayor's original Memorial Boulevard task force has come forward to you saying that they want more input?
Several members have, yes.
Several members have.
And I'd be happy to tell you who they were, but I don't know that that's fair to them.
No, and I don't disagree with you on that.
I just have a question, because why wouldn't they be free to, solicit these
I don't know.
board members
I don't know.
for the additional members?
Councilwoman, we weren't involved in any way in the vetting of the individuals who submitted names, how they went about getting those, and how they did the process of talking to the folks. The other point that was made at one of the meetings that I attended was that at least one of the human beings who did the vetting wasn't even a part of the panel.
Okay, all right. You've said that like 4 times, and perhaps because you didn't go to Memorial Boulevard Task Force meetings, you didn't understand that there were a group of about 50 volunteers that came on a fairly regular basis. I mean, certainly not all of them, but this group came at one meeting or the next, and that some of them were actually chairs of subcommittees. They weren't board members, but they were doing the work because they had certain expertise. So the nature of that group was such that the appointed commissioners worked very well with lots of members of the public who put in a great deal of work, in some cases more work than the actual commissioners on the Memorial Boulevard Task Force. So I don't think anyone, again, I do not know who these 3 choices are, but I haven't heard anyone say that the task force or some other person is somehow specifically opposed to one or more of these members. In other words, the mayor is supporting their appointment. In other words, there's no question that the three of these people are approved and appointed, at least obviously not technically yet, but no one is suggesting that there's a problem with any one of these people.
Mr.
If
Mayor,
the
can I
members-
move that we vote on this motion?
The motion's been moved, do I have a second?
You don't need to, you can just call the motion.
You need a second on the move.
I'll second.
Second.
A motion made to move, stops all dialogue, roll call starting my far right.
And to be clear, this is the motion that Councilman Forty brought up.
Vote yes means you want the panel put in place tonight.
Right, okay, yes.
No.
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 Yes.
Chair votes no, motion fails.
On successful completion of a one-year course as part of my tuition reimbursement. So moved.
Second. Seconded, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes.
Motion number 2, the Salary Committee recommends to the City Council to approve a $1,000 annual salary increase for the Emergency Management Director effective July 1st, 2015, and to refer to the Board of Finance for funding and informational purposes.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion passes.
Motion number 3, the Salary Committee recommends to the City Council to approve an upgrade of 6 positions in the BPSA bargaining unit as proposed and to refer to the Board of Finance for funding.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion.
I do have discussion on this item, Your Honor. And unfortunately, I do not have any of my notes or the memos or the documents relating to this because I left them by the chair where I was reading them last. So I do apologize for that, for not having figures or data in front of me. I just want to make some general statements that I was on the salary committee last term, and in my first meeting with the personnel director, I was told that they were trying to do a job study. And for anybody who doesn't know what that is or hasn't heard about that, it's often in unionized positions they do job studies to make sure that there's equity between members and sometimes between people that do the same kind of job elsewhere. And again, adjustments have to be made. You know, things like computers have changed all of our jobs. Perhaps someone has had to learn a new technical skill to operate that new computer system, but we've actually lost an employee because it doesn't take as long to do it, but somebody has a higher skill. So again, without being too, I don't want to belabor that point, but obviously job titles change and adjustments have to be made. So I was told 2 years ago that a job study was being contemplated for the BPSA organization, and that still hasn't happened. And the memo that was associated with this motion and these positions getting an upgrade discusses the fact that the union wanted to have that job study be a market study, meaning comparing the members of the union here working for Bristol with other towns like Meriden, East Hartford, Manchester, towns that have a similar demographic to us, same number of people, to figure out where our jobs were fitting relative to those others. The personnel director felt that it should just be an internal study, meaning, Roger Russo does this and Tom Denoke does this, and, based on their duties, who should be paid more, and do we have equity, again, among the members of the union. And because no agreement could be reached, we chose these 6 positions, which, and on the record, I'm totally in favor of these folks getting upgrades. However, I think that it's just putting a Band-Aid on a problem. All the different categories of workers, not just BPSA in the city, there's issues with their jobs, and we are losing folks. People get trained here, they get certified to do different things, and then they go to other communities that are able to pay them more. And so we lose valuable people that we've trained, and again, this is across the city. And so I am very much in favor of doing a job study and doing a market study that compares us to other similarly situated cities
And I could go on and on with this, but I'm again, definitely in favor of the folks that were picked to do this, but to get these increases. But I do think, again, the public perception is that, somebody's playing favorites or a few people are getting raises when this whole unit needs to be looked at for adjustments. And I guess I'm done because I could go on and on. So.
Through the chair, I have some comments as well. I want to first associate myself with most of the comments made by Councilman Fortier. I think it's wrong to say that we can't compare the way we pay Bristol employees to other towns surrounding us, because it's not comparing apples to apples. It absolutely is. If you talk to the Park Department, the Police Department, the Public Works Department, the Water Department, they're the ones that are losing excellent employees to those surrounding communities that pay better. So we need to make sure that we're at a reasonable compensation range for all of our employees. That's number one. Number two, I'm interested in hearing from the Personnel Director just sort of generally, how does one go about deciding whose raises are going to be retroactive to a certain date and whose aren't? Is that just a general negotiation between you and a particular employee? Is that a negotiation between you and the union? Just my sort of ignorance about that process. I was hoping for clarification.
The only upgrade that was recommended to retroactive was the assistant controller.
I understand. I'm not looking for the specifics of that person, because the mayor did explain to me that, and I get that, and you have no argument for me.
Okay.
Just generally speaking, is there a formula, is there a criteria, or is there a way that usually happens where one person is potentially retroactive and another 5 aren't? That's my question.
I think in this case, the proposal is for them to be effective January 1st. We didn't have the intention of going backwards because these positions have been discussed for a number of years, as Councilwoman Fortier suggested. We've been talking about a study for a long period of time, so to pick some date going backwards does not make sense, I don't think.
Okay. For one person, it did.
Yes, because that person, when she was rehired, there was discussion about reviewing her salary in particulars. There was a particular agreement about that.
Okay. Understood. That's all I need.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. Councilman Polsky, any other? No, thank you. Councilwoman, any reports?
No reports from me?
Okay. Unfinished business, anyone for our left?
No.
No.
None, Your Honor.
None.
No.
Chair has none. New business, starting my right.
New business is to put a giant R in that corner and a giant left in that corner, so we never get confused again. No, none from me, Your Honor.
Took me a second to figure out what you were saying.
None from me.
R for Republican and D for Democrat. None.
Yes, I move that the request from Attorney Morocco regarding property across in Middle Street be referred to the Real Estate Committee, Corporate Council, and to the Public Works Department for further review for a report back to the City Council.
Second.
Motion made, second, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes.
Nothing else.
No.
Nothing.
Has none. Any resignations?
There are 3 resignations. The first is from Jeffrey Caggiano from the Zoning Commission. The second is from Terry Parker, an alternate from the Planning Commission. And the third is from Jeffrey Morgan from the Zoning Board of Appeals.
Motion to accept resignation and send all the members letters of thank you.
Second.
Motion made, second, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. Appointments. Council boards, I didn't do one last month, and the council committees for the Veterans Committee and with the Fort County Gagney. Does that need a vote?
The veterans?
No, okay, that's important. Appointments, on the Mayor's Task Force on AIDS, to appoint Dawn Fenimore to replace Jay Maya, Section 2-9 resignation, no term. That's the Mayor's appointment, no vote necessary. Commission for Disability, Persons with Disabilities, to appoint Sam Ackles to replace Joella Bowdry-Mudry, Section 2-9 resignation, unexpired term to 6/17.
Second.
Motion made, second, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. Housing Authority of Bristol, to reappoint Joshua Flores, 5-year term to 12/20.
Second.
May I need a motion first? Motion. Motion made, seconded, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion passes. Housing Code of Appeals. Housing Code Board of Appeals to reappoint Timothy Gamache, 3-year term to 12/31/18, to reappoint Mary Ann Erickson, 3-year term to 12/31/18, and to reappoint Dennis France, 3-year term to 12/31/18.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. Planning Commission to appoint Andrew Howe to replace Jody Zilgagny, alternate member, resigned, unexpired term to 7/31/18. Motion made, seconded, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. Board of Police Commissioners to reappoint Eric Schwab, 3-year term to 12/18, to reappoint Edward D'Amato, 3-year term to 12/18, to reappoint William L. Greger, 3-year term to 12/18.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. Bristol School Readiness Council to appoint Joyce Boslin to replace Linda Rosado, resigned, unexpired term to 8/16.
So moved.
Motion made and seconded, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes. Board of Water Commissioners to reappoint Elizabeth Phelan, 3-year term to 12/18, to reappoint Romero Serras, 3-year term to 12/18.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes. Youth Commission to reappoint Taylor Dale, 3-year term to 12/18.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. Zoning Board of Appeals to appoint David Petzler
Savage.
Thank you, as a regular member to replace Jeffrey Morgan, resigned, unexpired term 7/17.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes. Zoning Board of Appeals to appoint Morris Rippey Patton IV, alternate member to replace Terry Parker, resigned, unexpired term 7/18.
So moved.
Motion made and seconded, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. Rippey's here, congratulations. Zoning Commission to appoint Jeremy Dupre to replace Jeff Canjiano, alternate member, resigned, unexpired term to 12/16.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor? All opposed, motion passes. Board of Park Commissioners to appoint Eric Carlson to replace Cynthia Donovan, 3-year term to 12/18.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, discussion.
I do have discussion on this item. I'm not opposed to this appointment, but I just want to just state for the record that this is a person that did not resign. In other words, there wasn't a vacancy here, but the person was up for reappointment. And I'm just, again, stating that for the record because that's been a practice that we've commented on in the past.
Your Honor, through the chair, I have some comments as well. I'm kind of in an awkward position as somebody that was on the Parks Commission my first term. I got to serve with Cindy Donovan, and I thought she was a particularly engaged member of that board. But I also got to serve, of course, with Eric Carlson as the other counselor from District 1. And I think Mr. Carlson is more than capable of serving on the park board. But to remove somebody that didn't want to be removed, and on top of that, replace that person with somebody who is not new to being involved in committees and getting somebody new into the fold, I think those are two particular practices that I disagree with personally, and that's going to lead me to vote no on this appointment. But I wanted to be very clear to Mr. Carlson, who I know understands where I'm coming from, and to members of the audience tonight, and for the record, that I certainly have, because I don't think Mr. Carlson's going to be a great park board member. I know he will, but I wanted that on the record.
Mr. Chair, just a comment also. I've served with both people, and both people are very confident and capable. And obviously, this is a selection that you've made. So either person, I think, would be terrific.
Let me say it was a pleasure serving with Cindy. I think she's done a great job. But as I've done with multiple boards, I'm making changes. But I also did express to her, as I've done with others, that if she has interest in serving on other boards, send me a resume and I'll be sure to consider her, and if it's something that catches her eye, we'll move forward with it, as I've done with other members that I've switched off of boards and are currently on other boards. So, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
1 no, motion passes. Yes. Item number 11.
Resolution regarding authorization for Board of Education to apply for and accept or reject a Hubble School roof replacement project grant from the Commissioner of Education to authorize preparation of schematic drawings and outline specifications. There is a resolution to read.
Someone care to read it?
Sure.
I think I can find it.
That there was one. Okay, so I have it right here.
Resolved that the City Council authorizes the Bristol Board of Education to apply to the Commissioner of Education and to accept or reject a grant for the Hubble School roof replacement project at Hubble School at 90 West Washington Street, Bristol. Resolved that the City Council hereby authorizes at least the preparation of schematic drawings and outline specifications for the Hubble School roof replacement project at Hubble School, 90 West Washington Street, Bristol.
Second.
Second.
Motion made second. Discussion. Roll call, starting with far right.
Yes.
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 Chair votes yes, motion passes. Item number 12.
Award of contract 2P1577, assessment analysis audit of building and equipment values to Tax Management Incorporated, doing business as Tax Management Associates Incorporated, and authorization for mayor or acting mayor to execute any necessary documents.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made second. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. Item 13.
Transfer management of city-owned property located at 22 Muzzy Street from the Department of Public Works to the Parks and Recreation Department.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made second. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. Item 14.
Executive session regarding the worker compensation matter of Martin Harvey versus City of Bristol, PMA, claim number W00138182.
I would imagine it would be our office, personnel director, and that would be it.
Okay, motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made second. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes.
Which day,
Well, I got a good one for you to investigate.
I'm going to try to email. Do you have email?
Sorry.